I am Etzion from Haifa, Israel. Today is the 11th of January, 2025. This session is being dedicated to Mani Baba's sister. I had a long, complicated story with Mani. All was well orchestrated by Baba himself for his own interesting reasons, as he used to do as part of his, I think, entertainment, playing with the people, with humanity and his lovers. My story with Baba started, as I told you many times, 1972, when he came to my person, and I, in turn, resigned to his will, and at that time, I also discarded the free will possibility and wish to share some of his universal burden. Back then, 1972, how much I understood at that time of what I was, of my decisions. I have no idea from where all this came. But eventually this led me that during 1980, he offered me to receive the Meir Baba Center of Jerusalem of Keri Ben Shammai. Through her, I came to know about him. And since then, 1980, till now, my lifespan has been dedicated to do something for his work in Israel. So during 1980, I'm receiving the library from Keri Ben Shammai. Keri Ben Shammai was still alive, but after we came back from India, she stopped working. She had to admit it to her home, and the library came to me. I was not too much thrilled to receive such position, supposedly, but since it's Baba's wish and will, which for me, I always put his will before my will. I had no interest whatsoever to be a public figure. So after I received the library, and quite before that, I've had strong impulses from him, and I learned that I have to follow these impulses. And now when I got the center, the impulse that I have to do something about this. So I was wondering what to do. This he doesn't say. Figure it out. You decide. So I will decide what to do. And what to do according to my human limitations and whatsoever capabilities I have. And I don't know what to do. There was a full wall full of books and material from the library, and I was looking at it, and I keep feeling the compulsion of Baba, do something, do something. Then one day, I looked at the library. I found this booklet. Meir Baba on War, which was published by the Pune Center by Ramakrishna. So I looked at it, I say, I'm a veteran of many wars. I keep on coming and going from war since 1966. And actually I was born to the war of 1948. And there is no, in Israel, one day of quiet without fighting. The past 120 years. Since the beginning of the 20th century, these two factions the children of Abraham cannot stop quarreling over a piece of land. It doesn't matter who is right and wrong. That's not the issue. That's a fact. And it's not stopping. And I had a great experience in combat as a combatant, etc., by the law of the country. So I said, well, to publish a book about war, which disturbs many of us, is what I need to do. So I started doing it, and then I locked up myself in my apartment for 2 weeks time. It was 81. And as if a strong wind got into me, some spiritual wind, and I was walking on this translation non-stop, day and night. And by the end of these 2 weeks, it was a sharp midnight, and my two hands were seized as if there was a force. I could feel the pressure of hands. Two hands were holding my hands, and I started to write an article. It was written through my person, an article which I later called on Arabs and Israelis, or Jews and Arabs, problem, the story of the Jews and Arabs here in this place of the world, their spiritual role, etc. It's on my website. You can go and look at it and see what it means. This actually is the blueprint of healing the nations from a spiritual standpoint, from a spiritual perspective, which the Avatar gave. And the only solution for the world is to listen to the Avatar and his directives. And all these peace processes, all these human endeavors to bring peace between the people cannot work otherwise. It doesn't have a spiritual basis. So this article was given, and then I made the translation, I prepared everything, and I sent to the trust. I requested permission to publish the book. And I'm getting the permission, preparing the whole thing, and it's quite costly. I had to pay for a person to double check the translation and prepare the layout. I didn't know how to make prints at that time. I didn't know how to work with computer. We didn't have the personal computers back then. I started to work on computers only from mid-90s. And it's already being received. It was already in the wheels of the printer, about to go there, and then I'm getting a cable for money, hold off publication. They don't want me to publish the book. So I made quite an uproar, sent a harsh letter to the Mandali, etc. Why do they do it? And nobody responded anyway. So of course, I had to cancel it and put it away. What it is, if you know somehow how Baba is working, he doesn't care. You work for me. Where is the work? You started to do some work for me. Where is it? As if you know he likes to play ignorant. So I'm scratching my head and said, well, I don't get along with the trust. I don't know what to do about this. Are you disciples? You figure it out. He said, they keep on receiving this compulsion. Do something. What's going on with all you? You don't know what to do. So I looked again at the library and I found this book. This book is an original copy of Sobs and Sobs by Ramju Abdullah from 1929. Looks quite shabby. It is quite a shabby publication from the 20s, but it's the original book. From where this came here to Kerry's library, I suspect Elizabeth Patterson sent her a large amount of books. She and Adele Walkin were instructed by Baba to furnish Kerry Ben Shammai with whatsoever she needed. So what I did, I translated this book into Hebrew. First, I inquired with one of the biggest publication houses in Jerusalem when copyrights are being expired. And they told me 50 years after the publication. So 50 years is 79. Now it's 81 or 82 already. So I said, so it expires. How can I publish it? Don't need to deal with the trust at all. I published the book. This is the book. Small little book. The book I chose from Throats and Throats, the story of Ali. Hope you can see it more or less. I published the book, and then I got was thinking, what shall I do with it? And then I found through the Ministry of Education the addresses of all the libraries in Israel. I said, I'll send 2 copies to each library in Israel. So I think I mailed about 400 books, if I'm not wrong, to all the libraries in Israel. And what happened? That a few people found it in the libraries, or the libraries just gave it to second-hand stores. And one of ours, you know, our Michal Namo Sivan, she found this booklet in a used bookstore. This inspired her to, I presume, to go to India, and she contacted me after she found this little book, which touched her very deeply, and she wanted to consult with me what to do in India. So I suggested go to Mehrabad. It's a clean, cheap place. Maybe get started from there and then figure out what to do later on. If you want to continue traveling in India, looking for goose or whatever you want, it's up to you. Then the story goes that she eventually got there, and Baba became the focus of her life, it's as it seems, till now. She's now in Mehrabad, I believe. And don't remember if I sent a copy to the trust. It was a fact. I didn't have my relations with the trust were sort of cut off. There were negative letters moved between us. Some of them were quite sharp, unfortunately, but according to Baba's training, I'm serving him. He decided that I will do this work. I know the person. It didn't happen that Kerry approached the Shas and said, I'm to depart and find a successor. It didn't work like this. Baba learned it. So again, I came back to India in 1982, and end of 1982, we came to India, and then I brought the book with me, I believe, presented it to the trust, and they didn't say anything, didn't give me any complaint whatsoever about this. But I asked Jack Small, who was the secretary at that time, what should we do with the Book of War? What do you want from the book? The book is book. You can check if it's good or not, if the translation is good or bad. Or shall I bring you, hire somebody to check it and decide if it's good or not? Why they decide to cancel it? I guess I know, but this is not the issue. It doesn't matter. It's part of Baba's work to bring the head of his lovers together. So for his own reasons, he decided that I should have some kind of a dispute with money. In retrospect, most likely for the good sake of both of us. He knows what he's doing. behind the veil. We not always understand. Could be some relations from the yonder of time, or some mental issues which are being resolved when two individuals are clashing with each other, or you don't need to clash actually, but they get involved, then they're pushing on each other and they create some mental changes within each one of us. So it caused me, for example, to be very conscientious and very careful not to step on the toes of somebody else while I'm doing this work. It's no point of doing work for Baba on the expense of creating bad feelings and disputes with others. This is against my training. And I have to keep on doing what he wanted me to do. I have to keep on working for him because I'm working for him, not for any person whatsoever. They asked Jack Small what to do with the book, but Jack Small is telling me, let's go to the Lord. It was Kusho quarters, if I know. There is a money's office. So I said, money is with the Lord. Okay. What do I do? She's definitely the sister of the Lord. I'm not getting into it. It's just if everything is fine with me. So we get into her office. She kindly and very sweetly explains why she doesn't want me to start my work with a book of work. That was supposedly the reason. I didn't respond to it. I listened quietly. From there, I went to the Samadhi. For driving to the Samadhi, I went to the Samadhi. We had a book note with me, and I started to write. I was writing. This came. Eventually, came back to Israel. I wrote some kind of simplifications of God speaks in the Samadhi. And I published it both in English, it's on my website, and Hebrew. Same book, English and Hebrew, and I want to include, this is some kind of a simplification, a biblical story of the creation as a version of God speaks, and I want to include the Baba there. But it didn't fit to the text. Just to put Baba and it doesn't belong there, in a way. But I was thinking, Baba must to be, the avatar must to be in the book of Genesis somehow. And I was centering on what was written in the first chapter of Genesis, was the creation formation of Adam. And then I got the insight that Adam was the first avatar. So I included Baba's picture, these gorgeous pictures of Baba, one of his best in the early 30s. Called him Adam, published the book, and after a few months, in the book, before I published the book, I sent a version, English, I translated, I wrote everything in Hebrew, and then translated into English. My casual, whatever English I had at that time, which wasn't the best. And I sent a manuscript to the trust for their, if they are willing to say something. So I got this quite unhappy response from Mani's office by Jack Small. So I looked at it and said to Bob, what do you want me again to do with all this? I don't like what I'm doing anyway. This instant Baba, as if Baba didn't say anything, he left me alone to decide. Eventually I decided to publish the book. And the publication of this book eventually brought me, I was looking for English editor to go over the manuscript because my English was medium English, still not good enough to my view. And it led me to an English professor. And this English professor, she told me she was writing scripts for Hollywood. She gave me English lessons for 4 years, from 83 onwards, about. Till reach the stage, I felt that she cannot teach me any longer. I wrote some kind of science fiction at the end of this sojourn, and it's still sitting somewhere. It was not published. It was quite interesting. And after that, I think I mailed it to Meira. Meira liked very much what I offered there. That Baba, the mysterious being called Adam, and the drawing I made, this kind of a drawing. I can maybe later, I don't know if today, I made the simplifications of Baba's explanations in God Speaks, a simple chart which shows the movement of the soul from the infinitude for the unconscious God back to conscious God, traversing the planes, the problem of accumulating sanskara, the buildup of sanskara and the destruction of sanskara till we merge back with the ocean of infinity, with perfect or supreme consciousness, etc. So Meira liked the mystery of who is Adam. She liked the chart. And from the chart, I heard nothing. And this is we're reaching now 1994. I'm coming back to Meirabat. 94. I'll share with you, from 84, I started to work closely with Don Stevens. Don Stevens was nominated by the Trust to supervise overseas publications of Baba material. So I went under his custody, which, as you can imagine, was interesting, challenging, and quite productive. As if we started a new clean chapter. And during this work, I was obliged by Kerry Ben Shammai, by the way, what do you do it again? This is the first book which was published in Israel by Kerry Ben Shammai in 1964. Baba was very pleased with the book, small book with a few Baba's discourses, small little book. One phrase, the book won a prize in the book fair in Jerusalem at that time. Baba signed a copy, sent it back to Israel, and the book was lost. Most likely, Kerry gave it away to somebody. And during my work, I was supposed to do the translation of the English discourses to finish the project that Kerry started with her husband. And the person who sent me to Kerry, I was supposed to accomplish the translation of the discourses. This was eventually accomplished. Started working for 1984. Well, big deal. It's in 2 volumes. All this was under the careful guidance of Don Stevens, with whom I was communicating tightly. Part of the work, I decided to each year before the discourses will come to the light, which would took about 25 years, to publish something from time to time. So I decided to publish Sparks. These are Sparks. Now everything is between myself and Don Stevens. How come there is nothing here in the... This is a little, very tiny booklet, Spark of the, by Avatar Meir, all kinds of things. Very cute book. And here is what Don Stevens said about this. Don Stevens sent me a letter, 3rd June 1994. This is coming, he stayed in Cannes. My dear Etzion, one of the people I admire and love most, and whom I also consider one of the finest living scholars in Israel, has paid you high compliments on your translation of Sparks. He considers it excellent not only from a literary standpoint, but also in its accuracy of rendering the original text into Hebrew. Congratulations, and Baba speed your project of making it available to his beloved ones in the Hebrew language. Warmest love, Don Stevens. Copy, Small and Parks. So this letter of approval went to the trust, 1994. And then you can see how the saga goes. 14 years, only after 14 years, I'm receiving an approval from the trust. One of Baba's Mandali, Don Stevens, that is happy with Baba's work, what I have been rendering. And this presumably paved the way to re-establish proper relations with the trust. What I wanted to add, that after I chose calling Baba Adam, I felt intuitively that Meir Baba is the first, the Adam is the first avatar. That's why I called Baba, I titled his picture Adam, and not Meir Baba. And this appears in the book that Bauchi Kachuri published by the name The Nothing and the Everything. It speaks on Adam and Eve. You can look at it, page 128, for reference. You can find out what it speaks about Adam and Eve and all this process of creation, what was going on. 1995, I'm coming back to India, and here is our the culmination of my story with money is reaching its peak. The story, I took this fabulous series of photos by money. I took these photos with this camera. It's a simple Russian camera, and the point is the lens. not a 50,000 camera to take this wonderful series. Now we look at the photos of Kerry one after another first, then I will explain. I took a whole film of Kerry, almost a whole film, of money. Excuse me. Eventually, this is a photo of Dr. Goer at that time, shows to place on Money's bed. Now, how all this happened? How all this unbelievable sequence of photos came to be? After I came back to Israel, developed the film. Of course, this was a regular celluloid film. Didn't have any digital at that time. This I had already from the 2002. I started to have some digital camera. But digital camera won't do such a job. Forget it. And I'm getting a letter. I sent all these photos to the trust. And the photos came to Dr. Goer. And Casey Cook was attending to the Mandalay. This fortunate lady sent me a letter on behalf of Dr. Goer, and I'm going to read you the letter. And of course, I'm taking the pictures of Money, October 1995. Money passed away 19th of August, 1996. Can you believe this person passed away? Look at this radiant, beautiful person. She passed away a few months later. Unbelievable. Looks so lush and young. She looks prettier than when she was a child. January 20th, 1997, Meher Azad, J. Beloved Meher Baba. Dear Etzion, I am writing on behalf of dear Dr. Goher, who sends to you a happy heart full of love in beloved Baba, especially for the unimaginably beautiful photographs you took of darling Money. How in the world did you capture her so perfectly? What is it about the photos that makes them so unique? To begin with, dear Money's 100% concentration on the little Baba lover saying Baba's prayer is very, very charming. The colors, her softness, her sweet, sweet eyes, and your fine composition in each photo contribute to this magnificent set of photos. By Baba's grace, he let you take them, Etzion. Everyone who sees them is overwhelmed by dear Money's love and adorable presence. They are truly spectacular. And all Baba's Mandali, thank you so very much for caring to send them. Can there be any doubt that Goer would love to order some more? I hope it will be enough to cover the following order. She's sending me $100 for this. Here there is amount of prints, etc. She wanted, I hope $100 is enough. To let us know the cost of the prints in case we would like to order more. Of course, I eventually not sent them the prints, but gave them the disk with a very high res of photos. I think each photo was about 80 megabytes, and I spent maybe a day on each photo to clean it with Photoshop. Because when you develop a film, there are always pixels. all kinds of things. Not just something, all kinds of dots. I was setting meticulously on each photo to make it as clear as possible for posterity. The work of heart, the recent Hebrew translation, The Silent Teachings of Meir Baba, has been placed on Baba's samadhi. Spent a whole day on Baba's bed in Meir Azad. I sat on Baba's chair in Mandali Hall. Of course, the Mandali Hall signed as well. It is now being returned to you in Baba's lap. When I came back to Israel, בפעם ראשונה זה בא בבוקלט, this is a philosophy of Meir Baba by Ramju Abdullah. No, Silent Teachings of Meir Baba. Can look at it later again. Now, what I requested them to sign this, all the Mandali signed it at that time. The names I can identify: Kati, Roda, Goher, Arnavaz, Eruch, Meheru, Bauji, Meherwan, Balnatu, all the living Mandali at that time, Julu. I have some kind of a sense for history, so I requested it. Our dear Mandali were happy to respond. Dear Etzion, Casey has, this is now Dr. Gore adds to it. Dear Etzion, Casey has written you a beautiful letter on my behalf, but I wish to thank you again for the most precious gift you sent us. We like the setup of Baba's book you translated in Hebrew. We are proud of you, dear Etzion, for carrying on beloved Baba's work in Israel and spreading his name. Much love from Goer. Now, Goer was very cross with me because of my dispute with Darling Money. Do you know how much I love money? When Baba walked into my life, 72, also knew who is Meira, Money, Mandali. I knew things without reading anything. So for me, all this issue expected opposition from the world, not from the people who are supposed to support my work, or at least not to interfere. It was quite a severe, serious test. I had to survive the whole odds. And then you can see the situation with all this set of photos brought to conclusion all this cycle, made everything clear between myself and the trust and the Mandali. What an unbelievable story. Now, how this happened to be at all this set of photos? What happened there? I walked towards Meir porch behind Mandali Hall. As soon as I crossed Mandali Hall towards the porch, I walked maybe a couple of meters. Then I was stopped as if a hand came out of the ground and grabbed my leg, and I became transfixed. I couldn't move my legs at all. I became stationary. Since all kinds of such things happened to me in the past, I was not too much surprised. I didn't know what it's going to be. But at that time, Manny started to walk down the steps towards Mera's garden. And as she started to walk down, this young boy, this, if I'm not wrong, police officer from Mumbai by the name Khilnani. I'm not sure about the name, but I think this is it. This boy came, stood before Manny, and started to recite the master's prayer. This takes a few minutes. It gave me the quiet time to click on the camera and just to look at the Manny's expressions. That's incredible, just to look at it. While she listening carefully to the prayer and her expression. She looks so sublime and so pristine, and this the inner beauty, and she Manny, as she was growing older and older, her spirit became younger and younger, and most likely more refined and more beautiful. You know, unlike when people are getting old, they look worn out, haggard. See a person with his soul, his full force, mental, spiritual, full, complete force, amazing. Okay, so this is a story with money. Unbelievable story. And you see, in order to understand the story, you have to walk with the circumstance, with patience, without judging, without criticizing, complaining, till it comes to its completion, if it comes. And I was lucky that it came to completion in this life, so we don't have any lingering karma for the next life. It's all Baba's grace. But we did some work for all of us. What is behind the veil, we can only guess. It's none of our business to know everything. But of course, eventually the book Meir Baba on War eventually was published. I didn't give up on it. It was published 2003, 22 years after the first attempt to publish it. So this is a story of money. My story with came to teach us a few good lessons if you want to move with the impulse of the Lord, have some understanding how he's working, which is life's mission to the Sefer is constantly challenging and never lose hope. If you think everything is getting lost, there's no hope, and you fail to understand, I have hope. There is always something in the offing, there is something behind, over the horizon, and if even till the end of our lives, when nothing is working, so it's none of our business. We have to stay focused and trusting that the design, that there is a design, and there is a control, and there is somebody who knows what's going on. I know that many people in this community are confused about Baba's manifestation and promises and revelations, and we don't have to understand everything. It doesn't matter. Matters the only thing matters is our inner focusing on him. If he has experienced that he is a beloved, stay focused.